Imagine knocking on the door of someone you love, but they don't answer. You know they're inside, you know they hear you, but they've chosen silence. That feeling of being shut out, that's the quiet heartbreak many parents feel when their own child ignores them, looks right through them, or treats them like background noise. And here's the part no one prepares you for. The more you push for respect, the more distant they become. The more you demand connection, the more invisible you feel. Yet, in certain Chinese and Taiwanese families, researchers found something different. Children who stayed close, listened the first time, and respected their parents without fear, without power struggles, without emotional battles. And the reason is one cultural rule almost no one talks about. Researchers knew parents everywhere were wrestling with the same question. Why do some children grow up steady, respectful, and emotionally grounded, while others pull away the moment pressure rises? So, in 2024, a team of child development scholars went across China, Taiwan, and Malaysia to look for answers. Not in a lab, in real homes with real families, gathering the everyday moments that shape how children respond to their parents. Their work was published in the peer-reviewed International Journal of Child and Adolescent Health. And what they uncovered was striking. Across 3 cultures, 3 languages, and countless family routines, the same pattern kept rising to the surface. The kids who showed the most respect weren't the ones facing the strictest rules, but the ones whose parents led with warm, steady guidance. Parents who connected first, then corrected. Parents whose tone felt safe, even when the boundary was firm. One rule explained the difference: connection before correction. And Chinese and Taiwanese parents bring that rule to life through 5 relational pillars. Let's walk through each one. Pillar 1. Warm presence before words. Picture the moment your child ignores you. You call them, nothing. You ask again, still nothing. Your chest tightens, your voice rises, and you jump straight into the command. Did you hear me? Answer me right now. But in the families researchers observed, something very different happened in these first few seconds. Parents didn't rush to correct. They didn't rush to demand. They didn't rush to assert authority. They paused. They softened their body language. They anchored the atmosphere before using any words at all. A parent might take one calm breath, step closer without tension, place a gentle hand on the child's shoulder before speaking. This is presence first, talk second. And the shift was immediate. Children responded more quickly, more willingly, more respectfully, not because they feared consequences, but because their nervous system read, I'm safe, I'm seen, I can tune in. Warm presence opens the door that guidance walks through. When your energy drops, your child's resistance drops with it. But presence alone isn't enough, because what comes next determines whether your child shuts down or opens up. Pillar 2. Tone that leads, not tone that threatens. Most parents don't realize how much tone shapes behavior. Your child might not understand every word you say, but they feel the emotional temperature instantly. In the study, the parents whose children showed the strongest respect had one thing in common: their tone stayed steady, even during conflict. Not sugary, not passive, not anything goes, just steady, warm, confident. A tone that says, I'm the adult, I'm here, I can handle this. This matters because children listen with their whole body. When the tone spikes, sharp, loud, or tense, their brain shifts toward defense. Even if your words are reasonable, your voice tells their nervous system something else. But when tone stays grounded, your child stays reachable. A boundary delivered calmly carries more authority than a boundary delivered loudly. Why? Because a child can't regulate through force. They regulate through the adult's emotional lead. And in the Chinese and Taiwanese families observed, tone was the quiet superpower, the invisible thread that kept connection intact even when the rule was firm. But tone only moves a child toward you when they feel understood. And that brings us to the next pillar. Pillar 3. Curiosity instead of accusation. When a child ignores you or speaks disrespectfully, the instinctive reaction is, What were you thinking? Why are you behaving like this? Are you seriously talking to me like that? But as researchers watched families across these cultures, they noticed something subtle but powerful. Parents held their judgment long enough to ask curious questions. What happened before this? Help me understand what you were trying to do. What were you feeling in that moment? No sarcasm, no interrogation, just curiosity. Curiosity tells a child, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to understand you. And something beautiful happens when you do this. A child lowers their guard. Defensiveness fades. Their brain moves out of self-protection and into cooperation. Because the truth is this. Your child's behavior is almost always trying to communicate something. Frustration, overwhelm, embarrassment, fear. But accusation blocks that message. Curiosity opens the door to the real reason behind the behavior. And once you understand the reason, guidance becomes 10 times easier. But curiosity loses its power if the boundary is unclear. That's where the next pillar comes in. Pillar 4, boundaries, delivered with calm clarity. Warm presence, steady tone, curiosity, these set the stage. But children don't flourish in endless flexibility. They flourish when they feel anchored by clear, calm limits. In the study, the most effective parents weren't permissive, far from it. They held boundaries firmly, but without hostility or pressure. A boundary might sound like, I hear that you're upset, and it's still time to turn it off. Or, you can feel frustrated, and we still speak respectfully in this house. It's the calm, and that changes everything. Warmth and structure, understanding and expectation, connection and guidance. Children respected these parents not because they were intimidated, but because the boundary felt predictable, stable, and fair. Calm boundaries remove the power struggle. They show the child you're not entering their storm, you're leading them out of it. But even clear boundaries aren't enough to create lasting change unless the child learns something deeper. Pillar 5. Teaching emotional meaning, not just behavior. When a child slams a door, talks back, or walks away from you mid-sentence, it's tempting to correct the action immediately. Don't you dare speak to me that way. Stop slamming things. Come back here right now. But the families in the study approached these moments differently. They treated behavior as a clue, not a crime. Instead of just saying, stop it, they helped the child understand the emotion underneath. You slammed the door because you felt overwhelmed. You ignored me because you were embarrassed and didn't know how to respond. You talked back because you were trying to protect yourself. This doesn't excuse the behavior. It explains the behavior. And here's the difference. A child who understands their emotions can change their behavior. A child who only gets punished learns nothing except fear. Emotional meaning is the bridge between misbehavior and maturity. It gives the child insight, and insight leads to growth. When a child learns, oh, that feeling made me do that, they also learn, I have choices next time. That's respect rooted in emotional intelligence, not compliance rooted in fear. And when you stack all 5 pillars together, something remarkable happens. Warm presence invites your child back into the moment. Steady tone shows them how to regulate. Curiosity opens the real conversation. Calm boundaries give the moment structure. Emotional meaning teaches them how to grow. This is the Chinese and Taiwanese rule that teaches respect without fear, connection before correction. It builds children who listen because they feel safe, not because they're scared. It builds parents who lead with confidence instead of exhaustion. It builds homes where respect flows in both directions. So tonight, try this. When your child ignores you, resist the urge to escalate. Walk toward them with calm presence. Lower your voice. Ask a curious question. Hold the boundary clearly. Name the feeling you see. Because respect isn't forced. Respect is taught in the quiet space where connection comes first. And that space is something you can create in the very next moment. If this spoke to you, tap like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which pillar you want to try first. Your story may help another parent rewrite the way respect grows in their home.